I'll tell you what, I've never seen this before. After a huge win over Alabama over the weekend, Tennessee is raising money asking its fans to pay for new goalposts. I mean, I'm not sure this is the way I would phrase it, but the director of athletics, Danny White, says Vols win, check. Big time cigar party, check. Rush the field, check. Danny, it's probably not something you want to really talk about with considering the SEC's policy on these things. New goalposts, check. They are asking fans to donate either $16, $52, 25, 100, 250, 500, or 1,019.50. Excuse me, 15. They have already raised in about a day $146,000 through 2,500 people, which is sort of an astonishing amount of money to ask. That's about $57 a person. That's how charged up the Vols are right now. I just found it kind of hilarious myself when you have a $140 million budget that you're saying you need goalposts. Just go order them. Like, okay, order them. It's an ingenious fundraising move. These are small donors, obviously, by the $50 amount that I was talking about, but it helps them cultivate their, you know, he says after the Vols' historic winning against Alabama, philanthropic annual gifts made to the My All campaign, which is My All for Tennessee, will go towards the purchase of new goalposts. Uh, it is funny. I mean, it's in many ways it's awesome for the Vols, but it is funny that you would suggest that you don't have the capability to function. But they're saying they couldn't play their next game against Tennessee Martin because they don't have goalposts. The tweet says, "Y'all remember how we tore a goalpost down, hauled him out of Neyland, and dumped him in the Tennessee River? Yeah, that was awesome." No comma. Anywho, turns out that in order to play next week's game, we need goalposts on our field. Could y'all help us out? Um, I mean, it's not a great look. I mean, I understand like sort of maybe they'll get a $500,000, maybe not, out of this effort. They'll certainly have the ability to grow their fundraising. It's just to me, it's just funny. Hey, listen, for a limited time, we're giving you 50% off of a $20 value and zero delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app, which is right down below, and enter the code DAWG, DAWG, 50% off a $20 value, zero delivery fees when you download DoorDash in the App Store and enter the code DAWG. The code DAWG for 50% off of a $20 value, zero delivery fees with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply. If you want good food delivered to your door within an hour, it doesn't have to be pizza. DoorDash is for you. I think this is a really awesome deal. Just download the app and put the word DAWG in there as special code. I don't think any of the Tennessee folks are going to put dog in there, but they'd be smart to do so because you're going to get 50% off of up to a $20 value. That is a real good deal from our friends at DoorDash. We appreciate their helping us out. Um, I've seen some curious fundraising things, but taking advantage. I mean, I don't mean I'm laughing, but I think it's smart in a way, but it's kind of sad in a way too. The only time that Georgia has ever rushed the field fans was against Tennessee in the year 2000. Now, I don't know if you recall that game. That season, we had seen it actually more often than not. South Carolina did it a few weeks before to Georgia, uh, and I was at that game and nearly got hit on the head with goalposts from South Carolina fans. There are rivers close to Williams-Brice, but it's mainly just warehouses and stuff. So I don't know what happened to the goalposts, but they kind of moved it around Columbia. Uh, it is very dangerous, people being on the field, period. I'll say that. And Clemson allows their fans on the field. They're very sensitive about you calling it rushing the field. it's kind of hard not to call it that when people are literally running on the field after the game. But at places like Tennessee, at places certainly like Clemson, but certainly Tennessee, Clemson, um, the reason why they can get on the field so easily is there's not a bunch of hedges surrounding the place with a chain link fence inside the hedges, number one. Number two, and this is why it's so hard to do it at Auburn, the length of the space between the fans and the field at Tennessee, at South Carolina, at Clemson, you're basically right there. At Georgia, at Auburn, I'm trying to think about Alabama, at Georgia and at Auburn, you have a modified track that is before hedges before you get to the field. So there are a lot of barriers to the field at Georgia. That's why there's a couple reasons why you don't ever see this at Georgia. Number one, like I don't say this without sounding, elitist, but most games Georgia plays in Athens, they should win. And, I'm trying to think of the last big win. I mean, Notre Dame in 19, LSU in 13, to some degree, South Carolina in 13. The blackout, um, LSU in 04, Tennessee obviously in 2000. So these are things that happen about every 4 years or so. But what happened after a while was that the SEC, the conference, said we're seeing too many fans on the field at once, and it is dangerous because it is. And you don't want fans on the field because for a lot of different reasons. Number one, there are barriers getting to the field where fans can get hurt. Number one, all right. Number two, we don't need fans near the other team, and when you're on the field, the other team is right there, and that is not good. And I would say it's more dangerous during basketball because it's a smaller area and there's smaller people. And I mean, I'm all for criticizing security, but frankly, if you were in security in your entire life, uh, you could go being in security and never have the field stormed on you. I mean, that's totally that's totally possible. Okay, so it's not an everyday occurrence. They wouldn't know. Uh, the other thing is that um, I mean, it really is a safety thing more than anything. At Clemson, the goalpost goes down immediately. Like they have a mechanical, they just go down. That's not the case at Georgia, and there were some people that really were hurt in 2000. But I think for the Vols, it was obviously a huge win. But to raise money off of it, saying you need new goalposts, it's a little bit ingenious, I guess. But it's also you're going to get made fun of. I mean, you're going to get made fun of, and that may be worth it. That may be worth your time being made fun of. Hey, speaking of which, pick up DAWGSTRUCTION today. Let me see if Georgia was all in Tennessee's end zone last year. There's Kirby with the end zone. These goalposts right here are in the Tennessee River right now. So quite obviously from this image, Tennessee does not have the retracting goalposts. Most places don't. Like here's an image at Auburn. You can see the hedges there. Their hedges are super wide, like overwhelmingly wide. And with Georgia winning the national championship last year, it did in the 80s, I think. The Gators, if I'm not mistaken, the Gators rushed the field against Georgia in 1984. It had been a long time since they had beaten Georgia. It was since the 70s that they did so. A year later, here come the Georgia fans after knocking off number one Florida, and they're on the field. So they started the two schools kind of like, we can't keep doing this. So there's a long, if you talk to, Vince or Claude Felton or anybody like that, they would tell you, we got together with Florida and we started spacing some stuff out. Like it used to be back in the day in the Gator Bowl that you would have Florida section, Georgia section, Florida section, Georgia section. And then they went into quarters, and now it's just in half. So it, it is you want to keep civility particularly if you're in charge. Well, with what we saw with the Vols the other day, there was no such, that just didn't exist. Here's the picture right here. I mean, it's a great image that will live on forever. But it is a little bit disingenuous, I think, for the university to try to raise money, saying they can't afford new goalposts. Well, they're not saying that. They're saying that they have to have them before the weekends. I know, like in basketball, there are multiple, baskets, so you just roll the next one in. In football, I'm sure there are other goalposts. You just go to your practice field, and undo it and put another. I mean, the goalposts are the same. So it's an ingenious thing, but you're gonna get made fun of. It happens.